Welcome to The Kindness Project, the podcast designed to share stories of kindness and share how kindness can make positive change in our world, one small act at a time.
This week on The Kindness Project, we talk about poetry, awards, and the second part of the interview with Andy from St Francis Hospice. Welcome to The Kindness Project.
That was super serious. Why was that?
Don't know, I just felt like it.
Welcome to The Kindness Project. What listeners don't know is you did try the intro just a second ago and then had a burp. A little burp, so we had to start again, didn't you? I'm joined by a girl whose intro I can't currently find. I'm joined by a girl.
Do you want me to go? I'll just go. I'll just go. I'm joined by a man who believes his rapper name should be Kaiser Advisor.
Kaiser Advisor? When did I say Kaiser Advisor?
Like a month or two ago. I just kind of wrote it down and just...
You're keeping that. That's going to be a future intro.
It is the intro. I just used
a girl where it's common for people to ask, what became of Charlotte Dames?
Not much, really.
You know what? Let's show off a bit about you for a little bit. How about that poem that you wrote and got into an awards thing? That was quite good. Why are you shrugging? That was really good.
It was decent.
It was decent. What was the poem called?
Fly.
And what was it about?
I think it was about, like, I don't know. Just kind of, I wrote it and I was like, oh, this is nice. I think it was about like being tied down by like doubts and fears and stuff like that.
Escaping those doubts.
Yeah.
And fears. Okay, that's good. And what was the awards thing that you won for it?
It was just nothing. I just won a certificate and a bookmark.
No, you didn't. And it could be in a book.
It's going to be in a book. Yes.
It's going to be in a book.
It's going to be in a book.
It could be in a book.
No, it's going to be in a book.
Okay, so you won a certificate and a bookmark, and you are going to be a published author, and the two that you mentioned, the certificate and the bookmark, what's going on with that? Oh, I'm going to be a published author, and I want a certificate and a bookmark, Dad. What's going on with that?
Love a good bookmark.
What did the bookmark say?
It just had the name of the competition on it.
Okay, fair enough. What's the best bookmark you've ever had?
Don't know.
You know what we should have done while we were in Japan? Got ourselves a Moomin bookmark.
Yeah.
No, yeah, could have done that.
Could have got a Pokemon bookmark.
Could have done. What bookmark would you like? What would be the most...
I don't know, I've got like 5 bookmarks now and just kind of like starting a collection.
What's your favourite bookmark?
It was this one that Mum got me for like 99p.
Okay, what was it say?
A book is just a world that you can keep in your pocket or something like that.
It's nice. Nice. Do you know who said it?
No, it was a Chinese proverb.
Ah, right, okay, interesting.
That's as much as I know.
So, if people want to get in touch with us, Charlotte, where do they do that?
On Facebook, because on there we're The Kindness Project, or is it Honor Kindness? I get very confused.
On Facebook, it's The Kindness Project. On Twitter, however...
Honor Kindness.
Holla Kindness, yeah.
Good for you.
Holla Kindness. On Instagram?
It's The Kindness Project.
Is it?
I think.
Okay, fair enough.
That or Holla Kindness. I follow it on Instagram.
If you search all your platforms of choice for either Holla Kindness or The Kindness Project,
you should find it.
And then people can email us at holla@thekindnessproject.co.uk. Now, I've got quite a philosophical question this week.
Oh, here we go.
Now, I know that philosophical questions often don't get the best responses when we answer them, but I think this one will. And the question is, what would you love to be remembered for? How would you answer that?
I don't know. I feel like I'd like to be remembered not for my work.
Okay.
Like, I don't know.
Is that because you don't do any, or is that because...
Hardy.
Oh, is that...
Yeah, I've done it. It's detrimental and it's phenomenal.
I'd like to be remembered for my non-existent work, thank you very much. No, listen, you work hard. You work relatively hard in between Netflix binges. I've just used a future intro of the podcast way to... I might write that down. Okay, so not for your
Oh,
work.
please, I haven't used Netflix in ages.
Not for your work, Amazon Prime.
There we go.
Not for your work.
Other streaming services are available.
We haven't done that for ages, have we? We haven't done that Kindness Project trope. Other Kindness Project tropes are available for ages. Tell me, don't want to be remembered for your work. What would you like to be remembered for?
My personality.
What aspects would you like to be? Somebody's at your funeral and they're saying Charlotte was this. What would you love to be remembered for?
Kind.
Kind?
Mm.
And what else?
I don't know.
Indecisive, clearly.
Yeah.
Kind and, I don't know, indecisive. Anything else?
Nope.
Okay, so just kind. Fair enough. So, shall, my friend, we get on with the show?
Yeah, sure, let's go. Kindness news.
And I've got an edition this week because I've just been out and got the paper, which is unusual. I don't normally buy a paper apart from the weekend.
He buys paper every weekend. It is the weekend.
It is the weekend.
It's Sunday.
And it's called I Weekend. That's the paper I get every weekend. And I thought it would be a bit of a kindness news experiment to see how many pages it would take me to find some good news. Now, what's your bet?
5 minimum.
5 minimum. I'm going to go for 7.
You've counted it though.
No, I haven't. 1, 2. Oh, hold on. There might be no. Can't see any on there. Does new baby son for Kim Kardashian count as good news? No, it doesn't. 1, 2, 3.
She's always having new baby children.
Does Trump in no hurry to end China trade war count as good news?
No.
4, 5, 6. Oh, we've got loads of Brexit in there. That doesn't count as good news. 7, 8, 9. Does fly tipping up by nearly 40% count as good news? Bit more fly tipping in your life. 10. Does an advert in Florida count as good news? 11. 12. 13. Right, here we go. An 13 pages it took me to find good news, but I found it. It is in
That's
there.
literally your number plus my number.
It is, yeah. So, an 81-year-old woman who has spent more than 60 years searching for her mother has met her for the first time. That's good news, isn't it? Eileen Macken, who lives in Dublin, first began searching for her birth mother when she was 19. After a lifetime of dead ends, she recently turned to Irish broadcaster RTE, which agreed to help and set a genealogist to the task. They discovered that Miss Macken's biological mother, Elizabeth, who turns 104 today and still alive, was living in Scotland. She went to visit her mother with her husband George, as well as her daughter and son-in-law. The mother of three also discovered after meeting her mother that she has 2 half brothers. Now, I've got to say, one of my favourite shows, and the one that always makes me sob a bit,
Long Lost Families.
I love that show. So I do love a good reuniting family story. I went over to see her and she's the most beautiful lady. Lovely family, and they came in and gave me a great welcome. We came in and honestly, I haven't got over the acceptance I got. They accepted me and I had a great chat with my mother. I said we were from Ireland and she said, I was born in Ireland. And I said, you know I'm your daughter. And she just looked up at me and she took me by the hand. She was thrilled and she never let go of my hand. We had 3 days of wonderful happiness I've never had before. I love that. I absolutely love that. So that was on page 13. Let's try and find
14.
14.
15.
16. Any good news on there? Can't see any
17.
on there. Got an opinion. 18. 19. Oh, we're having some going now. 20. 21. 22. 23. I'm going to give up in a minute. 24. 25. Oh, he's back by popular demand, classical music is resurgent in its resurgence. Good news.
Oh, classical music. I like classical music.
Depends, I suppose, on whether you're a fan of classical music. I will find one more piece of good news. In the meantime, while I try and find another piece of good news, can you share a piece of good news?
What, and waste one of my entire editions just to give you one piece of good news?
Go on, please.
Okay, let's give it a Google search. Good news. Oh God, I just closed something.
Okay, no, I found it. Page 34. These are the people who are having a good week. Jessica Anderson, the NHS nurse who was told her American world record attempt was void because she wore scrubs rather than a dress, has had the decision overturned. That's quite nice. Qantas flew the world's first waste-free flight by offsetting carbon and using biodegradable containers. Good news. Green energy. Britain went a week without using coal to generate electricity for the first time since 1882.
Nice.
Good news. And Wei Lon and Kawai Soou, the Reuters journalist jailed in Myanmar for their reporting on the Rohingya crisis, was freed. So we've got a decent bit of good news here. And then Roger Hallam, the Extinction Rebellion founder, was cleared of causing damage worth £7,000 by daubing a slogan protesting fossil fuels on a listed building at King's College London. So that's who's having a good week this week, and that's the only good news I could find in a 50-page newspaper, which is a bit depressing for this week's kindness news, but it is what it is, isn't it?
It's the honesty of society.
No. It's not like the honesty, it's the focus on the negative of society.
Yeah, but that's what everyone wants to read, isn't it? It makes everything so much more intriguing when everything is going wrong.
I know, but that's not the reality of life, is it?
Never said that.
So what are you saying?
Saying that we want to know about the bad more than we want to know about the good.
Why do we want to know about the bad?
I don't know.
Why shouldn't we celebrate the positive and accentuate the good news as opposed to focusing on what's going wrong in the world?
I think
because the reality is that is the exception and not the rule. All that bad news is telling us what goes wrong. But you think about it. If we look at that bad news, right? And I just pick any of these things. Have any of these things happened to you and I in our lives? Have we ever been impacted by Trump or China's trade war?
probably in the future, yeah, we're going to be.
Have we ever been mentally fragile pupils?
Yeah.
Probably, to be honest. Are we a Labour Party backbencher trying to fight Corbyn?
No, I don't think so.
Are you?
No.
Are you? There's something you're not telling me.
No.
And are there? Are you a train spotter? And are you looking at the Flying Scotsman who's trying to install cameras to deter train spotters?
No.
Okay. Are you in need of a vital health check?
Probably.
Are you looking at building your bucket list for middle age?
Yeah.
Are you a terrorist?
No.
Are you aiming to visit the moon?
Sounds fun.
Are you a peacock? Are you part of the childhood obesity epidemic? Look, you're none of those
hope
things,
not.
are you? So therefore, what I'm saying is maybe we should focus on the good. Rant over, end the kindness news. I'm just going to let you do it next week. This week we've got the second part of Andy from St Francis Hospice's interview. He was amazing last week. Really looking forward to finishing the interview, which does include, as always, some questions of the podcast.
Cool.
And I'd imagine part of a fundraiser's role is to empower people to do their own thing to support.
Do you know what? When I came into fundraising, I was probably very naive.
Okay.
8 years on, I've learnt the techniques, and I guess people would class me now as a professional fundraiser.
Yeah.
Because you go on to courses and you learn this and you learn that.
What was your biggest surprise about professional fundraising?
the capabilities, really.
Okay.
Because it doesn't matter whether somebody does £1 or whether they do £100,000.
Yeah.
It's getting people to think about what that donation does to a local charity.
Yeah.
Because the national charities can reach out nationally.
Yeah.
Okay.
And still get the majority of donations, right? Yeah.
So what happens is the amount that some of the charities spend on their advertising, which you see on your television every night or on your radio, the amount they're spending would keep our hospice running for a year or 2 years. It's just, but it's a balance, and that's why it's understanding local charity.
And what's been the fundraising idea that's been the most bizarre, or the one that you're most proud of?
I don't know about most proud of, but I can tell you bizarre. It really partnering up with my DJ events. Yeah. Going back to soul music, I started an event 9 years ago now called It's Like Candy.
Okay.
The reason it was called that is because you play a lot of the 80s soul tracks by bands like Cameo.
Yeah.
And they've got a track called Candy.
Yeah.
And some 10 years ago, the dance routine that goes with Candy was gathering momentum.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So everywhere I was going, doing all these little parties, netball presentations, and the first year 7 people knew the dance, and the next year 17 people knew it. And this was going on everywhere. So when I started this event, I thought, that's what I'm going to call it. So I did that. Well, this event now is 4 times a year.
Gotcha.
And it's been running for 9 years.
You hold it?
Well, funny enough, we moved this year. We've been holding it. We started at Dagenham Redbridge Football Club. Okay. Then it went to the Millhouse Social Club in the A13. And now it's moving this June to the Manor Hotel, which is the old Berwick Manor. So there's that. So going back to that, there are people that have been attending that event for years. Yeah. And a really good friend of ours, she won't mind me naming her, by the name of Jill Wallace. Her father was sick. Okay. He got cared for by the hospice and he passed away at the hospice. And she really wanted to give something back. It's that same story each time. And she came to me, and she'd been involved previously in her working role at Dagenham Redbridge Football Club. She said, Andy, I've got this idea. She said, I'm going to get as many people as I can to do the candy dance on the pitch.
Love it.
But then it became complicated with the football club because we had to wait till the end of the season because of being on the pitch. It was a tremendous day. Just a lot of fun.
Amazing.
And
anyone on the pitch?
Oh God, do you know, I wouldn't, a couple of hundred I would say. Okay. A couple of hundred. But it was...
I'm now going to have to YouTube the candy dance, because obviously I'd ask you to do it, but it doesn't really work on a podcast.
Not on. It's funny, going back to what I was saying about, you know, when I was starting it 9 years ago, and it was gathering, 7 people might know it, and a year later 17 people might know it. When myself and my partner dropped this song at our events, you've got 200 plus people doing it.
Love it. What's the best soul song you've ever heard?
Ever heard?
Yeah.
Oh God. It would almost an impossible question to answer. Okay. But I'll say this. If he's not the best, Luther Vandross is one of the best soul singers we've ever had the pleasure of listening to. So I have every single one of his albums. You couldn't ask me to pick a favourite track, but he has a velvet voice.
Yeah, Luther is a bit amazing. I agree with that. Tell me a little bit about what's going on in 2019, 2020, and what's coming up that's new, fresh, exciting. You know,
Absolutely. One of the events that brings in the most revenue through the calendar is the London Marathon. Okay. But for me personally, Chris, it gets better every year. Now, what's also really important, what we haven't covered, is that the hospice has around about 800 volunteers. Okay. I'm still a volunteer myself, even though I'm an employed member of staff. It's the cause, it's the reason why you came in the first place. And with the marathon, they will say to us as staff, we need some of you to volunteer. You can either do the morning shift or you can do the afternoon shift. And I'm telling you, I'm there from the moment it begins to the moment it ends. It's my favourite day of the year.
So it's really interesting. When we were arranging this interview, I asked the guys at the hospice, who I know, you know, the fundraising guys, who do I need to talk to about this? And they went, you've got to have a chat with Andy. You've got to talk to Andy. He's the most enthusiastic man about the hospice I know. And I said, yeah, okay. I said, he's part of the fundraising team. And I said, oh right, he's employed. He went, no, he's more than employed. He believes in this. He's employed, and then he gives over and above everything. So I've got to say, they'll probably tell you this anyway, but they've got a massive amount of respect for you, mate.
That's really kind.
To say that, and I thought I'd share that with you.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, absolutely no worries. My second story is about marathon. So I did my first marathon just before I was 40, a couple of years ago now. It was Paris, because I couldn't get into London for love nor money. And it's on the list. I've got to do it. I've got to get it done. So I'm 41 now, so I've probably got to get done over the next couple of years. But I did Paris, and I was so slow. A man with an Eiffel Tower on his head went to the finish line, and I got attacked by a man with a baguette. Purely and simply because they were just all the far. I did it in about 5.5 hours, so not super quick. But by the time I was running, they'd started opening all the roads, and there was just a guy with his breakfast crossing the road with a bag and a baguette, and I was getting in the way of his breakfast. So he started swinging his baguette across the road.
Charming.
Got back home and had my went back to work on a Monday, had my first client meeting, and Mark said to me, how did the marathon go? I was like, amazing. I cried at the end, loved doing it, but I did get attacked by a man with a baguette. And he went, could you make it sound any more French? Did he have onions? Did he have a stripy jumper?
Always, yeah.
He didn't, but he had just a baguette. But yeah, anyway, sorry.
I'm not sure that will happen in London. But what I would say is it's a proper London day.
Yeah. You know what? The Paris one was brilliant, but I think I was expecting London, like people lining the roads, and weirdly in Paris they're way too sophisticated for that, right? They're just sort of they might have a little clap and have a glass of wine, but not as enthusiastic as the London.
I'll tell you what's important for us is the fact that we are given a spot. We're at mile 23, which is not that far from the end. And a lot of people are really struggling when they get to that point.
So you've got to be enthusiastic.
So what happens is that we are there as a team to whip up our runners. But it doesn't work like that, Chris. You are literally supporting every single person that goes past you. And you are left in awe of it. And I think us as human beings, you know, to a degree we know our capabilities. I don't think long distance running is for me. All right? But I will give everything to help those that are going to do that. Not just for our charity, but all the charities. It's and what you just said about emotion, it can be the most emotional day that you can take part in because you reach everything, you know, and you can't put it into words, and I literally can't wait for that day to come around.
Love it.
And more importantly, it generates an enormous amount of money for the hospice.
So it's your biggest fundraising.
One of the biggest. But
Haverin's got its own half marathon now, isn't it?
I think it's his first year, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, so I'm thinking about giving that go. Actually, I haven't signed up yet.
Well, that's obviously I'm a footballer. So I still play, even at 51, I play every week.
I'm not good at football.
But running is not.
Well, I'm not a natural runner, but I need. For me, it's just something to keep me fit, and I do a bit of gym and do a bit of running. But yeah, what position do you play?
Well, now I'm getting further and further back. So I would say I kind of play quite a sweeper role.
Who's you play for?
Well, it's what it is. It's a group of guys. Very, very good standard. Some of them were ex-semi-pro, but it's fitness and fun. So I've done my time of playing in the leagues of five-a-sides and seven-a-sides as I was getting older. But this is a group of lads, like I say, good standard. We don't even need a referee. It's the same set of lads. We have two extremely good goalkeepers, so that's important. We haven't got someone just prepared to go in goal. Two good keepers. They out of the pool of lads, they pick the teams every week. It's fantastic.
Love it. Every week.
Every Tuesday.
Yeah, cool. Amazing.
Every Tuesday.
And before we talk about how people can get in touch with you, what we do on the podcast is we have a different question of the podcast every week. It's not normally kindness related, it can be related to about anything. And what our listeners do is just tell us what they think, just give us their answers. I'm just going to share some of those with you.
Okay.
So, first one is, what's the best Muppet? You know, like the Muppets, like Kermit, and who's the best one?
I would go for Kermit every time.
Would you?
Yeah.
See, I'm an animal fan.
No, Kermit every time.
Why Kermit?
Well, he's a striking colour for a start. And he's a cheeky little sod.
He is a bit.
And I think, I think some of us can relate to Kermit.
Yeah, fair enough. If you could live the life of a book character, who would you choose? Book or film?
Book or film? God, what a great question. Whew. Let's go to one of my favourite films, which is very light-hearted, The Wedding Singer. Okay? The guy was trying to be serious and he was trying to be successful, but because it wasn't happening, he fell into the trap of becoming a wedding singer. But he's amusing and he's funny.
Adam Sandler,
yeah,
isn't it?
Of course. Yeah. And like all good films, it has a happy ending at the end. Yeah, so, you know, we all want the fairy tale one way or another.
Yeah, no, I like it a lot. What's the app you use on your phone the most?
Probably BBC Sport.
Okay.
Maybe WhatsApp, because you arrange so many of your group things.
Well, the thing is now, I'm like, I can't believe I've got so many WhatsApp groups.
Yeah.
I just get added to a random WhatsApp group.
Well, interestingly, and you know, like I was just saying, but this football group that we play every week, and these are grown men, right? But the text goes out, or the WhatsApp message goes out 7 a.m. on Monday morning.
Right.
Are you available? There's a group of between 25 and 30 lads, ranging from their 30s right up to 59 years old, right? Okay. And you would be amazed how many guys set their alarm for 7 o'clock because when that message comes out on the WhatsApp group, they want to be in the reckoning that week.
Yeah, gotcha. So there's a bit of competition in terms.
Well, it's because it's such a good standard and it's good for fitness. And
What's your funniest travel story?
Funniest travel story. I remember once being going through passport control, and the guy said to me, "Do you have any distinctive marks?" And I'm thinking, "No, I don't really." Yeah. Many years ago, when I was a junior in the print trade, I used a scalpel and I cut through my arm. And I've got this, you can't even see it if I showed you now. And I remember saying to the guy at passport, "Well, I've got this scar on my arm." And he's going, "Where?" And I'm trying to show him, and I literally had to move aside the hairs on my arm and show.
Yeah, I don't think that counts as distinctive, to be honest. You've got to show him where it is.
But I remember being extremely embarrassed. Yeah. So there's a travel story for you.
What thing are you most proud of?
Being a father.
Yeah.
I have 2 grown-up daughters who are my whole world.
Yeah.
26, 23. You know, up until the point they were born, I wasn't really sure of what I'd have achieved in life or what I was successful at. When they came into my world, I wanted to be a successful dad.
Yeah.
And really that's...
I'll tell you what, that, Andy, is everything that drives me. I've got 2 girls as well, mine are 8 and 15. And I don't care what any other job I do, business owner, everything is driven by what I want to do for those kids. And it's weird because you go from a stage where you want your parents to be proud of you, and I'm still, my mum and dad's still around, and I still want that. But then it goes from what am I doing as a role model for your girls?
Yeah.
And they're getting on in their early 20s, they're doing all right.
Do you know what? They both work incredibly hard. They both work uptown.
Yeah.
And they make me proud every day.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, we are a bulk standard family. Yeah. You know, when they were teenagers, one of them was good as gold, and one of them threw everything at me by the kitchen sink. Yeah. Life is not plain sailing. No. But we are very lucky that the age we are now, we're very close. Yeah. You know, me being 51 and them 26 and 23, we'll go to concerts together. We're at that age where, you know, we're not mates, but we get on great. Yeah, and also all the years that because me and myself and their mum, we divorced when they were, you know, but I had 50-50 custody of them, so they lived with me half the time.
Yeah, so you saw them.
So that continuation, I saw them every day of their lives and my life, and I'm really lucky now that we have that closeness.
Yeah.
My eldest daughter will come to West Ham with me.
Love it. So my 15-year-old, we're off to Japan this year, me and her, just me and her, and she's my little music aficionado, so she goes, oh Dad, you've got to listen to Lewis Capaldi at the minute, it's the one she loves, so he's a sort of like he's an indie singer, and she'll, Dad, you've got to listen to it, and then she'll go, have you listened to him yet? Like she'll test me on
Sure.
whether I've done it, and we both love reading as well, so she recommends books to me and I to her, and then she'll be dying to tell me what happens in the book. So look, I haven't read it yet. Give me a chance. I know you love what you do, but if you could try any other job or occupation for the day, assuming you're going to be amazing at it, what would you choose? Would you play for West Ham?
I've lived that dream a million times. I even take my boots over there sometimes in case.
Just give me a go.
No, I think that if I'd been given a God-given voice,
Yeah.
I'd have wanted to have been a front man in a band or a singer all day long.
Yeah.
I almost feel at times like I was born to be on a stage. I feel like an entertainer a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But probably in answer to your question, I'd like to be an actor.
Okay.
Because I think, you know, you don't have to be yourself. You can be.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd love a crack at that. I'd love a crack at that.
That sounds good. Last one. Oh, I've got to pick one now. Because it's World Book Day.
Oh.
My daughter's gone as the Cat in the Hat today. The little one, the big one doesn't get to dress up anymore. If you could dress up as any book character or a film character, apart from the wedding singer, probably Annie, who would you choose?
Let's go for Bruce Bogtrotter from Matilda.
Nice one, I like it a lot.
You can do it, Brucey.
Really good, mate. So tell us about where people can get in touch with either the fundraising team or find out more about the hospice.
Well, it's interesting. I was on a course last week and a lady was saying that websites are becoming so old hat now. It's all social media. Right. I don't know if that's strictly true. I think plenty of people still visit our website because they can get so much information. www.sfh.org.uk. Lots of information there, but the St Francis Hospice is on the Twitter, it's on Facebook, it's on Instagram, but the good old telephone will do as well. Right. We get people all the time that say they're interested in volunteering. 01708 753 319 gets you straight through to main reception at the hospice. Okay, cool. And then they'll put
and you're interested in talking to people, want to volunteer and want to get involved in any way? Chris,
there's so much that people can do that they don't even realise, because we have volunteer gardeners, we have volunteer drivers, we have people that will give an hour or a couple of hours a week on the wards, just serving teas and coffees and hot chocolates to the patients. But also there are around about, I'm losing track now, but something like 15, 16 shops, St Francis Hospice shops across the catchment area now. So lots of volunteers go into the retail side of things. They'll do a couple of hours there. There's so much you can do.
I've really enjoyed today. Thank you very much. I've loved chatting, even though we went off on a couple of tangents, but that's always the way we have interviews. And thanks for coming along.
You're more than welcome.
So what did you think of Andy's interview?
It was good.
It was. Shall we crack on with the end of the show?
Oh, yes. 'Tis the end!
But, as we know...
The end is never the end.
Because?
The end is always the beginning. And we've got something for you guys. It's called this week's question of the podcast. Woo!
And last week's question of the podcast was, what, in your opinion, is the greatest man-made wonder of the world? What did you say originally?
I don't remember.
No, so I'll share some of our listeners' answers and our social media connectors' answers what's the greatest man-made wonder of the world? Jim Harron reckons... Can you hear the dog in the background?
Mm-hmm.
Jim Harron reckons children. Yeah, they're man-made.
That's very true.
And woman-made. Matthew Warren said bread. He likes bread. I don't know if bread would be the greatest man-made wonder of the world, though, because you could live without bread, couldn't you?
No.
Yeah. So, come in. Hello.
I'm feeding the dog treats.
You're feeding the dog treats. So, what's the greatest man-made wonder of the world?
Food.
Roberta White, friend of the show,
Especially pasta.
introduces new contributor, John White, Grandad Potatoes.
Grandad potatoes.
Said the World Wide Web, and Robbie White.
No, can I tell them how we called him Grandad potatoes?
Go on then.
So when I was a baby, we go to Scotland every Christmas, and when I was a baby, Grandad used to take me out. Grandad farming.
In his garden.
In his garden, yeah.
Yeah, and
They dig up potatoes.
yeah, and we used to dig up potatoes. And one day I went to Grandad and said, "Grandad, potatoes?"
And it's stuck, hasn't it? And you still call them Grandad Potatoes, don't you?
And I never knew I did.
You know what? You should carry that on until you're about 80. Just carry on calling him Grandad Potatoes until you're grown up. Lee Harris said, the greatest man-made...
Charlotte still calls him Grandad Potatoes.
No, I don't.
What do you call him?
Lee Harris, we are recording the podcast here. Are we aware of that, people? Lee Harris said the greatest man-made thing is humans.
It's very true. We
So
do
it's
make
not
it.
handmade.
Tracy Dames said children. Patrick Floyd said language. Sadly, badly used all too often, and in this age, bypassed with memes and emojis.
So true. So worth it.
Kathy said her favourite man-made thing, Wi-Fi.
Very true.
And Rohan said Machu Picchu and Petra. John Cook reckons the pyramids, so does Dom Thomas.
No.
Tracy Kinsella reckons love is the greatest man-made thing. But I
Not
don't know whether
man-made.
I know what the best man-made.
Homemade?
Man-made.
Go on then, say it.
Pocky!
Pocky! Could be there, Pocky. Rich Elliott said, red.
Wine.
Amanda Smead said, the best wonder of the world is free love. Alison Hagen reckons the Great Wall of China. Heidi Ball reckons pyramids. And Lauren Ball said, not sure if this is a man-made wonder, but I've always admired the terracotta army. So that...
Alison Hagen said the Great Wall of China.
She did. What do you think?
Still want to go to
Still
the Great Wall.
Pocky?
Pocky.
Still... You still think it's Pocky. And that's it!
No.
For this week's that's it for this
Lego.
week's podcast.
We're done.
Lego. We are firmly,
Finito!
we are firmly done for this week's podcast, and we will, my friends, see you next week.
Bye.